learning.
Okay, so as you can see, one of the things you can do, of course, is you can come in and do all your work in Blender and then export it. But because this earlier version of Unity doesn't seem to be exporting well, things the way I want them to, doesn't make sense to bring everything in from Blender then, because they're not situated. You have to resituate them. So you can do some of this work actually in Unity. And an example might be bringing in a car into the world. So there's a car over here. And how would you do that? Well, you could go into our favorite little place, which is 3D Warehouse. And bring in a few things that belong in the model. So one might be a car. And actually, maybe they actually have the hybrid SUV. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, they do. Concept there, Lexus, Mazda. That looks a bit like mine, although mine's a Ford Escape. I mean, you can try with this to see how... Yeah, there's the Ford Escape. So you can try to bring those sort of things in and download that as a Collada file, and then show it in the folder. I'm going to take that download and cut it and put it in our tutorial folder, and I'll make a folder here for 3D warehouse models and paste that in there, and then we would extract it here. There it is. Although that one should have said, well, we need to put that in its own folder, so really I shouldn't have done that. In fact, I'm going to get rid of that, and then redo it, but this time I'm going to extract to Ford Escape, so it has its own folder. There it is. And now, take that model name and make it Ford Escape, but don't change the name of the various graphics files that go with that. Now, with that Ford Escape being a Collada probably will not come in here. So if we were to import a new asset and we were to go to Ford Escape, let's see if DAE, maybe it does. Well, it does. All right. So you can then drop that in. And there it is. Once again, bring your Y down to 0. Don't seem to do anything. Interesting, because it came in with a big giant camera. It says house, Ford Escape. It has in it a camera, which we don't want. We certainly don't need that camera, so we can delete that. Break the instance, and there's another camera, and there's a group in there, and that's the one that we want to bring down to 0, if it'll let us. It's not letting us. Oh yes, it is. It's just massive. Okay, so that's the problem here, is that this is so hugely massive. So we have to go in and we'd have to scale it. And the scale button is here's the scale tool, and yeah, we don't want to do weird things with it. So you grab the center of it and scale it way down, and you can move it and use the car. Let's also rotate it. and you can the rotation 91. Actually wanted to make it just 90 degrees, so that's better. And then we move it over to where that car is. Make sure that it's again in the Y at 0. Move it over, and it's still way up in the air. Bring it down, and now you have to scale it again. You can also scale it with these here, but if you want to do a uniform scaling, you'd have to scale it like this. Make it about the size of the car in the photograph. You can tell that it's now not at the Y position that you want because it's casting a shadow. And let's see, that's still up in the air. And that gives you an idea of how big the car should be on the landscape. And then hit save for that scene. So now we have a car in there. And you can do all that sort of thing for almost everything in here if you want to. One thing we should probably try to do is anchor things in this world by giving them collisions. So we're on the Rosebud plane, and that one needs to have collision components. So we'll move this AltSpace thing over and add a component. And the component that I'm going to add is physics. And it's going to have a mesh collider. And it has no materials. And the same thing if you want to be able to have a component. Everything would need to have some physics if you want to be able to bump into them. This one could possibly have a box collider around it. And let's just see here how this works out with AltSpace with that car. So build and upload. And it could be that we'll have to check in AltSpace. It could be when we upload this that it has problems because this car might be just a huge mesh. So far we're not getting anything here. So we've added a few things in here, and I'm building the scene in. I brought the stuff in from 3D Warehouse, a wind turbine, a car. There's a lot of different things you can bring in. Solar panel would be nice to have in here, and find the appropriate solar panel. If you're going to do individual modules, then probably want to go for something like this. Download the Collada file, and then you can show it in the folder. I cut it, I put it in my folder in 3D Warehouse Models, I paste it there, and then I extract it to its own folder, which becomes that. Take that, I go into the model, I call it solar panel, but I do not change the texture which is in there. I don't change the name of that. I then go into Unity and it's building the scene. So it's going to take quite a long time, it looks like. A lot of time on that. Maybe because I put collision in. I'm going to cancel that and still see what happened here. And I've put a car in, as you can see. So when I go into AltSpace and reload, re-enter my world, hopefully the windmill will be there. I think what it was trying to do is bake in the colliders. Ooh, I sort of fell through the world. Okay. So the car is there, but where is the windmill? It's like the windmill never made it in. The car made it in, and this made it in. But no windmill. However, it is interesting that it looks like the collision for this did work because I can't seem to collide with it. Whereas when I go to the car, which I did not put any collider in, well, I'm going to fly right over the top of it actually. So that's not good. Let's turn on the flying. Fly. And that should let me fly down low. Or is it going to let me fly at all? I guess I can go up. I can't really go down. It's not really letting me fly below. Okay. I guess I stopped this. The windmill should have gone in. So what I'm going to do, because the collider seems to be what messed me up, is I'm going to take the collider out and I'm just going to turn it off. I guess I could do that. I can remove the component entirely. And there's no collider on the house. The other thing I did is I made the environment of the rosebud thing a static. Maybe that's the problem, but let's see. Let's first go in here and once again see if building it is quick with this. So, that baking thing is a big problem. So maybe it's the static. So I'm going to take environment and I'm going to go to rosebud plane, turn off static. And then turn, do you want to disable the static flags for the child objects? Yes, for everything. So there's no static now. Maybe that will make it much quicker. Yeah, that was the problem. For sure. So we've learned something there. Now when I come in and I re-enter the world, the windmill should be there. There's the windmill. Same one that we actually have here, although I squashed it a bit. Okay. So little by little, we begin to get objects in there. That means that when we come into 3D Warehouse, if our solar panel that we downloaded, we should be able to go into Unity now, and in our 3D Warehouse folder, where I'm putting all this stuff, I can now import a new asset and take my solar panel and bring it in, and bring that solar panel in. Although it appears not to have the texture. Color is there. Material is there. But, yeah, don't know. Certainly don't need the camera. That's what the camera sees. I go back. When I first brought it in, bring it in the world, and camera shows that, and I'm not sure why. Does it need to be flipped over? Maybe it's the other side that has it. Let's see. Test everything out. Things seem to do that. Well, so we can keep the camera there anytime we want it, but the solar panel is super huge and needs to be shrunk way down in size and brought down to the properties. So bring that solar panel over and bring it over there. And here's where you can do local editing and boom, bring it in. So you have that option of moving things in their own local space. Small, hit F to zoom in. Of course, the solar panel would be much tinier. And then move it. And it has to be facing the sun, of course. Solar panel is never face north in the northern hemisphere, it needs to face south. But we don't have a texture on it, and that is a little bizarre. What happened to that texture? It didn't come in. So in this case, it may be that we can import an asset and go into the model and grab that, and now drop that onto the panel. But it didn't seem to work. Sometimes if you select it here and then drag it, there we go. So we've got the texture on it. Nice. Alright, so if we look at the, no, we don't need this camera anymore. So yeah, so we've got this solar panel, and once we have a solar panel here, then we should be able to duplicate it, and duplicate it. We can just do the old copy paste, I would imagine. Maybe not. Maybe not. Is it a Control D? No. Yes, Control D did it. I just have to move it. Control D. So there we go. There's a solar panel there. Put those over there. So anytime you want to do it, you just hit Control D. Creates another instance of it. Alright. That's not the exact position of the solar panels, of course, in real life. At Rosebud, the solar panels are, remove them, they would be found up here. And that is the area of the solar panels. Actually, those are the solar panels there, and they're oriented improperly, but I think we'll just keep them here for the time being, just to try it. So we'll save this scene, and we will upload it. We can upload, and then it shouldn't take too long. Right. And so It says build complete. Now go to here and re-enter the world. And the solar panels are over here now. There they are, monocrystalline solar panels. So we're certainly beginning to build Rosebud. And a lot of that just by using 3D Warehouse.